Hello everyone, welcome to Scorched Earth Toys at anymoon.com's transformation guide for Bandai's 1/60 scale DX YF-29 toys. To begin, if you haven't done so already, collapse the landing gears of your toy so it is in this condition as seen right now. Transformation on this toy is actually pretty easy. You start by freeing up this peg from the leg by just applying a little outward pressure. You don't need much. That then makes it so you can swing the leg downward. Now you might want to pull the kneecap a little away from the body just in case the knee gives more than the hip as you do this. Alright, when you get to about this point, you can extend the leg downward. Doesn't go very far, but just enough to create a little more clearance. You can then continue to bring the leg forward. Now again, you want to make sure you're not scratching this intake area with the kneecap as you do this. From this position, you can extend the feet out, open them up, and then angle the legs outward to achieve your nice aggressive stance. From this position, you're going to want to free your guns. You can just do that by applying a little bit of pressure upward, front and back, and then just pivot the guns forward like so. This makes it so you can pivot the wings upward as well. So now you've got your wings upward, and you can slide your hip kibble out of the way. Once the hip kibble is out of the way, you can flip your toy upside down and free the intakes. I do it by putting a finger behind the intake here and kind of rolling it inward a little bit. Might be a little easier said than done. But there you go. Usually one frees up, the other comes right with it. At this point, you can remove your gun. There's no longer pressure on the arms, and the gun just fits via a slot, and there's a peg in between the arms, and that's how that attaches. You remove that. The shield just popped off on mine. This would be a good point to take it off anyways. You then rotate your legs forward at the waist mechanism, and now that reveals your arms on an L joint. And what you want to do is kind of lift up a little bit to free them, and then rotate at that L joint. Now you do have to lift up a little bit as you do this, and as you transform the toy back to fighter mode, it's very hard to do while keeping that shoulder armor on. Alright, so now with the shoulders and the arms out where they should be, you'll just rotate these legs back into position. And they just have a couple of pegs that fit into these squares where those screws are. So they just come back in. You'll hear an audible click as they get into their right position. If I can get them there. There you go. So there's one. And the other. So now your toy should look something like this. Alright, the next step is pretty straightforward. You just rotate the arms down, and then you have the shoulder armor that's on top of the arm. You're going to bring it up and rotate it around so it looks somewhat natural, like so. You can then rotate your arms at the elbow, or pivot your arms at the elbow. The arms actually come out a little bit to give you even greater range of motion. So you can play with that a little bit. And you're going to flip your toy upside down. And this was something that was new on the DX YF-29 toys and a huge improvement over the V1 VF-25 toys. You have this support mechanism that swings forward and connects via a hole in the back of the crotch and holds the back end of the toy firmly in place. So now you won't get that drooping of the entire back of the toy. So once you're in this position, you can bring the wings down and then push the gun back into place if you don't want to have it out in gearwalk mode, and just clip it down like so. Pretty much your final step here is going to be to take the shield, slide the fighter mode mechanism inward, and then use this peg to attach it to this hole. And when you're doing this, you can also rotate the fists however you're going to want them in gearwalk mode. And there you have it. You now have gearwalk mode. You have the option to bring these wings inward if you think they look too long. Not really sure what is absolutely correct, since I think the instructions show either way as being perfectly valid. And you can also take the gun and mount it to the support mechanism if you want to have that sticking out like this in gearwalk mode instead of being in the toy's hand. And I'll have pictures of that up on anymove.com. Okay, now it's time to transform this toy into Batroid mode. If you had the wings extended in gearwalk, now's a good time to go ahead and click them closed. You begin transformation by opening up your landing gear doors, folding the nose cone back. This is pretty standard stuff if you're used to transforming a VF-25 toy. Then you are going to remove this gearwalk support joint and pop open your hips. Once you've got the hips out, you can just straighten up the legs. You know what you're going in for now. You can just go ahead and rotate them straight, click them up. You want to make sure you rotate them straight though, because you have that point on the edges of the knees and they can get damaged if you don't get your knees just straight before you click them in. Alright, from there, you're going to break the back of the fighter. And so there's one swivel point right in front of the shoulder. There's another swivel point just aft of the shoulder. And you can bring that down right now also. This allows you to start working on the head. This next step is the trickiest part of transformation, but it's also the most important. You're going to want to apply pressure to this hinge, which will free up the head from the chest area. So you just apply the pressure on the hinge straight back, and you'll get to this point where the head is now free from the chest. At that point, you want to lift up and away. So you've got the head now out from the chest cavity, and you could spin it around so that it's looking forward. But you're not done yet. There is a plastic bar at the back of this head plate, and you need to push on that plastic bar until it goes as far back as it'll allow you to do that. So first, make sure that you've got this hinge back so there's a little bit of room behind the head for the head to move. And then put your finger on that bar and push back. You'll hear that click, and your head is now in the position it needs to be in to continue transformation. If your head's in the right spot, this next part of transformation isn't too bad. You're just going to hold the chest in position, lift the toy up, and the nose will swing into place. Now you are going to lean back a little bit with the chest, bring the nose cone up, and then start leaning forward. And everything will sort of pinch right into place for you. Then you can just bring the back down, and again you have pivots in front of the shoulder and behind the shoulder. So as you bring that back down, these metal pieces to the left and right of the head will swing down, and everything will lock into position, not quite as tight as you would want it to, but it should look like this. And it's not really going anywhere. Before we bring the hips into their proper position, the next step is to get the back of the plane in order. So you're going to pop your guns out if you don't have them out already, from however you displayed gear walk mode. You can just do this by lifting out. Swing them up. You can fold your fins down and bring your back hinges out. This is a good time to line up your boosters. And with that done, you can now focus on bringing your hips up. So as you can see, there's two metal hinge brackets and two little pegs at the end go into these two little slots right here. So you have to bring your legs forward to get those pegs revealed, and then swing your legs all the way back. It's much further than you think it's going to be. And then you get to a position where you can bring them shut, except the canards are going to get in your way. So go ahead and pop, let's try that again, pop the crotch forward, giving yourself some clearance from those canards, and then you can just click the hips into place. Alright, now you're in Batroid mode. The last thing to do would be to install your intake covers if you haven't done so already. I already put one in there. Then you're going to be doing some fine tuning. You want to get your shoulders right in this place. Get your kneecaps where you want them. If you want the guns extended, you go ahead and extend the guns now. And then the last step, if you haven't made sure, get this thing fully extended forward. Get that crotch as angled as you can get it, and you'll find that stiffens up Batroid mode and makes the poses a lot more aggressive looking. Alright, visit anymoon.com for my full review, and thanks for watching my transformation guide.